for listening to Confidence Equals Beauty with Amanda Taylor podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Taylor. I am a trained mental health therapist with years of experience working with people of all ages. I am passionate about helping others find their own inner confidence and overcoming negative stigmas. I have spent my entire life trying to help others in their times of need, but I was struggling to overcome my own insecurities, trying to show up how I thought others wanted me to be. It was not until I finally reached inside myself and gained my own confidence I was really going to find my true passion and purpose and wanting to help others do the same. I want to help you discover how beautiful and wonderful you are using my own life experiences and tips. Here we will talk about all topics that can help you find your own true confidence, because confidence equals beauty. Hey everyone, welcome to Confidence Equals Beauty podcast. This is episode number 8, and today I'm just going to talk about me turning 40 yesterday. I had a great response from a blog post about me turning 40, and I thought, why not just go ahead and make it a podcast and share with you my thoughts and everything going on going into this new decade. So yeah, thank you for listening and being with me through this moment in my life. So in real time, it is March 8th, 2023, and yesterday was March 7th, so it was my big Lordy, look who's 40 birthday. And honestly, I'm not sure what to think and feel. So you're gonna go on this journey with me. It may make sense. It may be just a jumble of nonsense. But I do want to thank you for sticking through with me as I'm going through this. So, I think about 40, and I remember my parents and like my relatives turning 40. I remember like my older friends turning 40. And I just remember thinking, especially like, when you're a kid or 20s and 20s, it just seemed like 40 was so far away and it just seemed so old. And I got a funny story. So that kind of shaped my opinion of 20s, thinking 40s were so old. So I was in college and I worked a full-time job at a pharmacy retail store. And I remember one particular day, I was doing my job helping customers, and this man comes up to me and starts talking to me. And he was like asking all kinds of like questions like of interest in me and like trying to get to know me. And so here I am, I'm 20 years old, and I am so naive. I have no clue what flirting really was, or if like what it was like to be hit on, until he asked me, after this long drawn out conversation of him asking stupid questions about me, not stupid questions, but just questions about me. And as he's asking me about different products that he was looking at, and I think it was just to make conversation. At the end of it, he asked me when my shift was ending, or if there was an evening where he could take me to dinner. And I'm like, okay, this older man asked me out. I don't know what to think. I don't even know how old he is. But silly me agree to go on this date knowing he was older than me. So it kind of turns out at the dinner date, I did find out he was in his 40s with children. And the whole time I'm like, what in the world does he see in a 20-year-old? Like, I am nowhere near the maturity level he is. He's got kids. He's got like this really good job. He's got life so figured out. And as we're talking, he's flirting and picking on me like, oh, you're still so young. You just don't know. And he's right. I was 20, naive, young, silly, bright-eyed, have no clue really what adulthood was even about. I am still trying to navigate it, And so I did realize that I was not going to have another date with him. And it was because he was in one stage of adulthood and I was just starting out adulthood. And so I kind of look back now and laugh at that silly girl because she just did not know any better. So I remember thinking, like I said, 40-year-olds, just they all had it figured out in life and they were just so put together. I remember seeing my bosses and they'd walk in their high heels and nice outfits and business suits with their nice purses and just looking all put together. And here I am just trying to navigate my career and showing up, trying to look as professional as I could with the lowest budget I possibly had. But they did. The 40-year-old women, they just look so put together. And as I've learned, maybe they didn't have it all figured out. That's not so true. And what I have heard is of my friends and family members and everybody who has, walked into their 40s, that they're still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to figure out what's going on. And now I'm 40. I am trying to still figure out every day what the heck to do. However, I do think there is a wisdom that comes with getting older. And I do think I do know better now of definitely what not to do. I think about my parents when they turned 40, because my parents had me at such a young age. I was 20 when they were in their 40s. And I think about my husband. He had a young child, and he's in his 40s, and now his son is in his 20s. And I'm just I kind of can't wrap my head around this idea of being 40 with an adult child. Yes, I have a bonus son who's in his 20s now. And I met him when he was finishing up high school and transitioning into adulthood. And so I got to experience that, but he's now living his life. And so it's still kind of a hard concept for me to wrap my head around, because my biological children, I didn't have until my 30s. And so here I am. It's official, and I'm now 40 years old. And like I said, I guess I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate life. I still second guess myself as a mother, whether I'm doing the right thing for my children. Am I still a good bonus mom? I don't like the term stepmother, so that we use bonus. And so am I still a good bonus mom to my bonus sons? Am I a good wife? I notice my friend group looks a lot different than it did in my 20s and the beginning of my 30s. So I still kind of question, am I a good friend? Like, do I look old? Am I looking like 40s? I think about stuff like that. I don't feel really old, except when I sit down in that crisscross applesauce sitting position. The kids sitting down, like, on the rug with their teachers and their legs are all crisscrossed. That's when I really feel it. I feel it all in my hips as I start to, roll to my knees and then just kind of climb my way up. That's when I start to feel old. I've noticed I have less energy as far as late nights and early mornings. And as those start adding up, I'm very exhausted after a few days of doing that versus in my 20s, going out late at night, staying up all night studying, and then turn around and just working or, going to class and doing what you need to do. I remember my 30s, kind of the same thing. I could stay up late at night finishing tasks, and then I can just kill the next day. But now it just seems like that does catch up with me. But I kind of still think in my mind that I still got it like I did in my 20s and 30s. I can't seem to realize that, I'm older. I still sometimes feel like I'm 20s and 30s and I still got it. I think I'm in good physical health. I've learned much better ways to be healthy as I've gotten older. But I do feel like life lessons have given me a huge advantage now than when I was younger. I look at the past 10 years in my 30s. My 30s, I could tell you some crap that went down in my 30s. And it really did push me to know who I am. But at the same time, there were a lot of amazing moments that just happened to me during those years that just really has shaped me into who I am right now. I also look back at my 30s and I realized I was just, I was really starting to get into a groove of my career and me understanding what I need to do to be happy and work on being a better version of myself. So I've decided that I want to make the best of going into my 40s and in the next 10 years. So to everyone else who's going through transitions like me, walking into a new whatever number decade, I hope these things are helping you. And And seeing that getting older is not a bad thing, but a beautiful process. So I am told by many people who have experienced this transition into their 40s that this is when their lives really kind of started. Like they really started living and feeling and really just really enjoying life. And they kind of tell me that they just stopped letting the small things bother them. They tell me kind of like a light switch goes off and you kind of just get to a place where you recognize what is important to you and what you just let go of and just stop stressing over. And I am really kind of looking forward to this. I think I've been doing really well the last few years, and I've already been working on this, but I'm kind of really excited about thinking, okay, many, many, many women in my life told me their 40s is when they felt their life began. And I'm like really excited about that. So cheers to this decade. I want to walk into this decade bright-eyed and wanting to see every opportunity that is coming my way. I want to enjoy living in the present moment and just savoring every moment instead of stressing and worrying about the things I can't control. I feel like in my 20s and 30s, that's all I did was stress and worry, have high anxiety about everything. I felt I needed to be perfect and I had to like look or have the image of being perfect to everyone. And as I've just kind of realized that perfect is not a real thing, I really do kind of roll my eyes and just think, silly girl, there's no such thing as perfect. But like I've been so used to for the longest time, in my 20s and 30s, it's advanced my career. Now I want children. I want this. I want that. I want this. So I was always thinking ahead of what's the next step. And I often find myself feeling like I just miss out on what is actually happening in the present moment. I realize that every time I do this, I regret that I did not really fully enjoy the moment. I look back and there's many times I tell myself, it's okay to stop and play with your kids. The house will be clean one day. Or we go on a vacation and I'm so stressing over it being perfect in every detail and the itinerary being followed or it's hot, it's cold, the kids are fussy, they're hungry. And by the end of it, I'm like, man, that vacation went by so fast. And all I felt like is I had anxiety and stress over every detail not being perfect. And this is something I really do want to work on and change. I have children who are growing up so fast. And I know if I do not make myself more present with them, I'm really going to miss out on these moments that are happening. I'm even having to tell myself that these toddler moments, they're really not my favorite right now. But I really need to stay present and just accept the roller coaster ride that comes with this season. And just side note, I hate roller coasters. I even hated them as a teenager, but I did it because, you want to be cool, fit in. But really, honestly, I don't like unpredictability. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like anything. So the scenario of using roller coasters is just to help me accept the ride is teaching me how to deal with the things that are not favorite. And this includes my unpredictable behaviors of my very tenacious toddler. I need to be present, or I want to be present. And let me just rephrase that. I don't need. Need is an expectation I don't need to put on myself, but I do want to be present in the seasons of toys and book bags, socks, and shoes all over my floors of my middle-aged kids. That 7 to kind of 10-year-old age group. And I really have to work on this a lot because I strongly dislike clothing and book bag trails coming home from schools. Then when my kids open the door, it's like, there goes the book bag, there goes the shirt, there goes the sock, there goes the other sock, and all you see is this trail of children, their stuff. And that, they know very good and well everything has a designated place to go. And I'm sure you mamas can really identify and really understand the everyday battle that comes with this season. And I also even want to be present in this time frame of this middle-aged kids, of the back talk moments, or when the kid feels like they need the last word or they have to have their opinion said when I'm trying to discuss something with them or I'm trying to teach them something. I'm just having to realize that this is a stage that these kids are in. And instead of getting upset, which I do believe is a normal response as a parent, to get upset when they talk back, or, you told them to do something and they're stomping off, mumbling something under their breath. But I just really need to work on, well, there I go with that need again. I really want to work on understanding what my child is maybe feeling or thinking, and the reasons why their behavior is stomping off or back talking or whatever. I even want to be present with my smelly teenage boys years. My teenage bonus son is growing up fast, and I don't recognize him anymore. I mean, he was just a 9-year-old when I first met him. But I also really want to be present in his life. I feel like the teenage years are some of the most crucial years of learning and preparing for adulthood, and I really want to be present in his life. I want him to feel like I'm a safe place for him to come and share those challenges that he faces as a teenager. I want to be more present with my adult child bonus son. I really do remember my 20s and the changes that come with transitioning to young adulthood and everything that kind of happens in your 20s. And so I really do want to be more present for him. I want to be more present in my marriage and keep building on the connection with my husband. I really do want to embrace the differences each one of us brings to the marriage, instead of trying to change the other or what we think the idea of what our spouse is, quote unquote, supposed to be. So now that I am here in my life, I am pretty confident I know who I am now. I know my values and where I stand in my faith and my beliefs. And this was not always so true in the previous decades of my adulthood. Going into my 40s, I am more comfortable with who I am. I know now what I will and will not tolerate. I know whom and what, who I want present in my life and who I don't, and who I'm okay with loving from a distance. I am much better at establishing boundaries with others, and I'm aware I will continue to have to work on this. I'm also aware of my insecurities and what triggers those insecurities that end up that negative voice in my head. And I'm also much better at applying learned tools to work through those insecurities and seeing that I have many more amazing assets that I do bring out and that do make, I guess, the best in me. I feel like I have more life wisdom through my mistakes and success. I also continue to work on myself to find out, my purpose and my passions and what makes me who I am. And I've learned that I do not need to apologize all the time. I don't have to people please my way through life as I used to feel like I needed to people please to make sure people liked me. I love now, a younger generation can look up to me and think, I have it all figured out. I'm going to put that in quotes. I have it all figured out. I love that when I look back on the hardest times and the best times so far in my life, they really have shaped me who I am today. I definitely do not want to put expectations on myself as I walk into my 40s. Hence why when I would say need, I would quickly change it to want. Because I feel like if you put pressure on yourself of, it can cause, I know it causes me anxiety, or will have me second guess myself and all the progress I've made at this point through my self-care journey. I am aware that, self-care and being the best version of yourself is a lifelong journey. But I want to be able to pause and look around, breathe in deeply, and just kind of be present in the moment. I want to enjoy the phases of this next decade. So I guess, how does this all apply to you? Since that's what I want to do, is just help people embrace, be themselves, build confidence. I think I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing I'm doing. Embrace the new chapter in your life, whether it's turning 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. You don't have to look to this change as a negative, as I'm getting old or but maybe an opportunity for wisdom. I don't think you need to set expectations or deadlines on yourself. Like, I need to be married at this time, or I have to have kids at this time, or I need to be at this place at this point in my life. I mean, like, I need to be CEO by 30 or make partner by this age. I think some of that just adds more stress and anxiety that really does not need to be there. You know, it's, why are you stressing over things you can't control? Or that saying, why stress tomorrow when tomorrow will take care of itself? You know, I really feel like you're in the exact moment where you need to be. You are exactly where you need to be in this moment. And so when I was mid-30s, I went through a divorce. And life flipped upside down and all over the place for me. But I found this artwork that I hung on my wall. And this has kind of been a huge motivation for me, and I want to share it with you. Today, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. What happens tomorrow is up to you. And I love this saying because it reminds me that I'm right where I need to be in life. I do not have to put shoulds, coulds, woulds, must, always, nevers on me. And I call these like absolutes. You know, you can never always do something, and you put pressure on yourself if you use the shoulds. I should do this. I could have done this. I would do this. I must do this. This always or this never happens. You know, that can really put a lot of pressure on you. I know it does for me. I do realize with this saying, I can, however, change. If I do not like the direction I am in, I can make tomorrow a better day and change myself now for a better future. And I really think you can too. And you know, with this decade, I've always wanted to help people. I've been a mental health therapist for 15 years. I've always had, listen to me saying always, I have a desire, and I can remember my entire life having the desire to want to help people, to embrace people, accept people for all their differences. And with that, I really want to help others find their true self and build confidence. So I really want to help other people find their true selves and build the confidence they want to have to overcome any negative stigmas that have been placed in their lives. And I want to be able to build confidence in others, to be able to be present and truly love themselves for who they are. Because I definitely, in the end, I do believe confidence equals beauty. If you're looking for more information to read on building confidence or just any life situations, please visit www.confidenceequalsbeauty.com. If you have any questions on any topic you want me to cover, please email me at amandarobinson-taylor@gmail.com. If you would please help me get this podcast to more people who could use the community and support, please like, follow, subscribe, and share this podcast. Also, please rate this podcast, preferably a good rating, so this podcast can reach more and more people. I want to thank you for spending your time with me, and remember, confidence equals beauty.